Hello.
Hello, hi.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Good. Thank you. Yourself? How's your day?
All right. Yes, yes. Just gonna adjust my screen a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Just waiting for more people to join us, and then we will start. But um, yeah, I just put it all in the description. So I'm gonna put a comment in there. So if anyone wants to see more about it, then just go to the post. Yes. Okay, great. Okay. I'm just gonna wait for a little bit a minute and see how many people are joining us, and then we'll start. Um, yeah.
So, what are we discussing today?
So we'll be discussing the problem of the fashion industry, and mainly the fact that the reason why good fashion exists is because there is a problem. Like we won't have a business. Business are there for a solution, and as a business you provide solution for things, and we have seen that there is obviously a problem with the fashion industry, and what we will be discussing today, and even as recording as well so that people can watch afterwards. Keep changing my camera. What people can see afterwards is the fact that let's adjust it correctly. 4 moments. Yeah. Okay. So that people can see afterwards is, actually can see that there is an issue. So we need to pay attention to it, and we need to highlight the issue that is happening in the fashion industry. Some of the things are quite clear, and some things aren't clear unless you are in the industry. So it's very important to highlight. So this is what the podcast is going to be about. So we're going to highlight to everyone that's watching this either live on replay, and you can watch on replay if you're part of the Good Fashion group, and you can join by clicking on the bio on Semsah Fashion bio, or I Am the God of Fashion bio. You can click on it, and you can see more details of how to join this program that we are introducing, which is Fashion Tabernacle. And it's all about faith and fashion, discussing the fashion industry and God's view on it, and how you can be responsible consumers, but also not only consumers, but also workers in the fashion industry, using the Lord's way of doing things, which is good because He's the only one that does things good. And that's what we on, and that's what we stand upon. And we want to share this wonderful news that is not new. Everything is written. The Bible is so old. It's been there for times. It's gone through century upon centuries, and the practices, even finances as well. There's been book about using the Bible as a financial guide on doing things correctly. So why not use the Bible as a guideline, which is our guideline to the ways of living here on earth as it will be in heaven. And it's very important to have that as our guideline. So I wanted to discuss and mention, highlight, and whoever comes and see this will have a greater understanding as to what's actually impacting the industry. So there are figures of how many garments are being dumped in landfills. Nobody really knows, but we all have seen the images. Majority of people have seen the images. I know in the UK, we had a BBC show about Panorama, and they were showing the true cost of fashion. There was a film also about true cost of fashion.
True cost.
And I've been to I think it's the Fashion for Good museum that's in Amsterdam, and they basically highlight the true cost of fashion and what it actually the toll of the industry, and they go through the life cycle of the way a t-shirt is being made, from design to production, and then obviously the cost of it to make a t-shirt, and the impact of making a t-shirt that's cotton, that's quite a high cost in the overall spectrum. So they highlighted that as well. It's like we are aware of it, but we're not really aware of the extent towards it. So it's really understanding the fact that what's been seen and known. So what is known is that we know that clothes are being dumped. We know that there's an issue with landfill. We know that majority of the clothing that is going to secondhand, majority of them that isn't sold, gets sold or dumped, unfortunately to be say so, to other countries, particularly one of my country where I'm from is from Ghana. And I've seen it with my own eyes, you know, that clothes are being sent to Ghana. And I've been to the Kumasi market and I've seen garments there that's secondhand. And the wonderful thing, hi, hello, welcome, Amora Beauties that's joined us. Yeah, the wonderful thing is that Ghanaians, where I'm from, I'm very happy about it. They're very resourceful and they, you know, they use the secondhand garments they have and they will repurpose it. They will clean it up, they will repurpose it, they will make it different. But unfortunately, a lot of the garments are being sent abroad aren't useful. So they're not able to resell it. And if you look at the sheer amount that's been sent, not everything can actually be repurposed. It's just a lot of clothing that's being sent to different countries. And that's really the problem with everything. So it's really, really important that, you know, we understand that sending clothes to charities isn't the solution, especially if the garments, because I've done a workshop and I'm really happy and I really do salute what Shelter is doing. When I did a workshop in Shelter about reviving garments and, you know, mending garments and just training the staff that were there and just really speaking about the impact of bringing garments to a charity shop that isn't useful. You know, they have holes in it, they have stains, they're not able to really repurpose the garments and sell it on. And these are staff members, not all of them paid, some are volunteers. You know, they have to go through the garments that are being given to them, and it's a lot of them are not useful. Like some people give blankets and things are underwear, lingerie stuff. You can't repurpose that, so that gets sent to a recycle house or it gets sent to a secondhand place that is in a different country, which isn't great. So it's really understanding that the clothes that we give to charity needs to be of good standard, number one. And number two, not all clothes in charity actually get sent to, you know, to be sold. And if it doesn't get sold, it gets sent elsewhere. And where does it get sent? That's a problem. And the quality of the garments, and it's a common thing. You know, my sister made a video. I'm not going to say the name, but she made a video of a certain brand, and she was shocked of the quality that came through. You know, the seams were falling apart. I work and I get things through from my company where we have customers complain and say they were wearing a garment and after one day of wearing, they already have stain on their bed sheets, they have stain on other or their accessories because of it, because there was a color transfer. Quality is less than it was before. That is a common fact. So it's really questioning quality, really questioning the overconsumption of what we have, and really looking into, you know, what we are buying. Is it something that's going to last, which is really important? Is something that's going to last? Is something that's going to be with us for a very long time? And yeah, and where is it going to go? Because if I'm going to give this garment to charity, am I giving it to charity so it actually can be sold, or am I giving it to charity because I know it's not in good condition and I won't buy it? So I'm just going to dump it somewhere else to deal with it, and not realizing the impact that that have. And that has happened during the COVID, I think the COVID period, where we were, you know, in lockdown and we were sorting out their garments and stuff, which I did as well. I was sorting down to my items that I was wearing because I had nowhere else to go. So you have nowhere else to go. You were going through your items, you're looking through all of your garments, and then what happens? You send it to charity. But is it the garments that you're going to plan to resew, or all of the garments because you know it's not in a good condition? And what happens with those garments? Not all of them go and stay in that charity. They actually get sold to another country, or it gets to a recycle house, so it gets recycled and it gets made up into, I don't know if you've seen isolation. where they make like isolation for houses, where they cut the materials and pieces and they become isolation or other things. That's why I have multicolored fabrics. And that's what happened with it. So it really, not all of that we give gets sold. And it's really important to understand the impact of our consumption that's happening. And that's also the reason why good fashion exists, to highlight, you know, good consumerism. And I will put back that you can explain a bit more, Anna, about it as well, especially on the fact that, you know, we are buying things that we know is not good quality. We know it's not going to last. We know that the clothes we give to somebody else is not of good value. How does God see this? How is his point of view about this area that we are doing as, you know, consumers that we should be? You know, and if you are proclaiming to be a believer, then everything that you do needs to go according to it as well, including to the people that you are, you know, giving your garments to. You know, how does the Lord see this in this particular area? And that's where we are actually calling into the God of fashion, because he's a God of everything. And he's also the God of the way we interact with one another. He's a God of the way we consume and how we speak to one another, and everything goes in line with his ways. So it's very important that what we do, not just saying like, oh, we are going to buy ethical source products. Even that as well, you need to question. You know, are you buying it just for the sake of buying it, or are you buying it because you really are making a conscious effort and you're making sure that what you have in your wardrobe is something that you need? So yeah, just going over to you, Anna, in terms of what is God's view or point of it for the way we consume our products, and how he wants us to be responsible about it, especially in the industry that we're in, where there's so much overconsumption.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, I'm just yeah, I would totally prefer to continue on to listening to you, because yeah, I really learned so much. And actually I will not maybe reply directly to the question that you asked. Let the Spirit lead me, and perhaps this is one of my problems, but yeah, let the Spirit lead me. Basically, when Susanna and I, we were discussing the plan, you know, for the broadcast, and when she was sharing her inspiration with me, and she said basically that we need to discuss the problems, we need to identify problems, because, well, if there are no problems, there are no solutions. But clearly, when it's like everything is in a mess, sometimes you cannot single out the problems. But however, when one starts doing it, basically, yeah, that's maybe the first step to the recovery, so to speak. And because we can introduce solutions, right? We will start working towards that end. And basically, I like, Susanna, how you highlighted things, you know, when people ask questions. So how about this particular batch of clothing, charity bag? Where is it going? But from my particular side and my angle, vantage point, and my expertise, basically, we need to understand that basically, okay, you mentioned something very interesting, which is totally correct, that right now the quality of clothing that we buy is not what it used to be. Why? Guys, if our broadcast is really speaking about asking questions, we need to understand that this particular reality crept into our lives because of the fast fashion. And if you produce something fast, number one of the repercussions that your quality cannot be as good because you're producing fast, right? And number two, the whole concept of the fast fashion and how consumers started to think is that you buy for one time only. So why would I care about the quality? I'm not interested in keeping this particular garment for 1-2 years. No, this is just for one occasion. So you see, guys, and it's very interesting when you're speaking with industry leaders about like why you're producing such, you know, bad quality, why you even allowing the standard. They say, no, we do what consumers show us. Because of the data and sales report, and consumers right now, especially youngsters, they are not interested in quality. They just need looks.
Yeah.
They need to looks the certain way, which is a whole different story, which I will not even go into because I have so much to say about looks. But about asking a question, another point which you answered, like why there are certain secondhand shops and secondhand centers and charities, and why it's happening, because it's a good business. Because some of those clothing, when they are put together, they're being sent to different parts of the world. Why? Because it's a good business, which is actually probably not a bad thing if you do this business responsibly. So yeah, this is basically, some points which stood out for me as you were talking. And I think it's a very good idea that we need to ask the questions, and because through questions it would help us, to screen through the reality that is around us, but also it would help us to understand ourselves better. And what Susanna and we are particularly doing, and how we have been graced by the Lord with this opportunity with the Good Fashion Institute and Semsah Fashion and godoffashion.com that I particularly doing, is basically, we are allowing to have ourselves the space and representing the space for others, for those people who actually, they have questions about fashion and what's up, what's happening, and especially for the believers, because they know that God is good, because they know, and we've experienced the goodness of God in many areas of our lives. So why not fashion? So why not fashion? Which is, again, it's a whole different story. Why it's so like almost oxymoronic, why fashion and God, they do not work together. In fact, they can, because God is the God of all. Whatever industry, whatever name, the name of Jesus is higher than any other names. So yeah, and particularly. Susanna, what you mentioned about questioning the industry, and I like how you said that some things in the industry, they are more on the surface, which basically we can maybe explain them, well, maybe it's just business, brands, they just like money. Maybe they would like to have a profit. Maybe they want to take particular advantage of this, develop an economy. So, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to come up with some of this, maybe rather philosophical, but still like reason. It is a reason, not maybe the reason, but a reason, right? But other things, they not very obvious. And especially, with this is how I think I wrote it briefly on one of my blog posts, or maybe in a book, how did it happen that we have ended up with fashion in so much mess? We have psychological disorders, we have problems with consumption, overconsumption. That's particular question which you asked me. We have people who we buy out of rivalry, we compare ourselves with all this brandomania extravaganza going on in our heads, and basically, especially with youngsters. So maybe, I don't know, like, which brand you buy, which is, this is just an accessory to life. And how did it happen that it started to define us? And speaking about consumerism and materialism, and they're all like connected, it's just basically materialism, consumerism, this is more marketing undertone, right, to it, and the marketing economy undertone. So, but speaking about those things which you mentioned, which are hidden from eyes of the consumers, and maybe they raise an eyebrow of many people, but somehow maybe if those people, they do not feel that they belong to some community, and they would be like, well, maybe I'm just crazy that I'm asking this question. Maybe I'm overthinking, right? Again, that's what we do with God of Fashion. We are honored to have this community where people we're not claiming that we know it all, because it's nonsense. No one does. Only God can. But I think it's already very therapeutic to have a community where we can discuss, we can pray, and God will give us solutions. And basically, particularly pointing to the things which, Susanna, you inspired me about, that there are problems, but they are not on the surface, and not really many people ask questions. For example, Susanna, will you please share the story about Kendall and fat? And I will add on to basically your story with more examples.
Yeah, so I was in church last week, and my pastor, wonderful pastor, Pastor Sunil, she mentioned, not last, yeah, it was last week, she mentioned the fact of candles, and the ingredients in candles come from animals and animal fats. And it was really highlighting as well that, you know, when you burn animals, it's also part of what witches do. And, you know, you're burning animals is not something what the Lord wants either. He's been very specific in drawing laws, and his laws is very specific about scents. We also learned about how the scent of the Lord is. And, you know, he has put those laws in place to show Israel how to worship him. And when you know how to worship the Lord, you will avoid things that will not please him. So from learning the impact of the candles and the ingredients in the candles has really made me conscious of the fact that actually that's just one example. But if I know about my label and I look in my wash care label and I see that this is a mixed fiber or a particular metallic, because I had a really allergic reaction against metallic fiber.
Oh.
And I realized it, yeah, that's something new. I didn't realize it, that I would have an allergic reaction. But I am aware of customers who, for my particular job that I do, because I work as in the industry as a technologist, garment technologist, and there's certain ingredients that can trigger a skin reaction. It can be dye. So a dye, particular dye that's in the garment, can actually trigger a reaction towards it. So customers do have reactions, or nickel that is metallic, or metallic fibers. This was actually during the Christmas season where metallic fibers were very in, so you saw that quite a lot. So that trigger allergic reaction. And I was wearing one just for less than 10 minutes. I was wearing it and I already had spots upon it. So it's very, very like these things, ingredients that are in particular garments can cause an allergic reaction if you're not careful and you don't know about it. And, you know, even the origin of where it's been made, you know, that's also important. The country it's been made. And we have seen reports, excuse me, that's really going on. We have seen reports about, you know, garments being made in inhumane conditions. So it's very, very important to understand the condition that garments are being made in, the factories are being made in, because once you know, it will stop you from buying. It will. It should really. And it's the same when we learned about tobacco, when we saw that tobacco has a negative impact to your health. Once you know, you will actually be mindful for it. And when you know about it and you still choose to, you know, purchase tobacco, then it's your responsibility, and then you know the impact of it. But in fact, you don't have that same thing. So it's very important to have all of that in place. Yeah, but we will go into it more, you know, in the Good Fashion Institute that will be starting on the 6th of April. So do tap into the bio link for more information on I Am God of Fashion and Semsah Fashion. And even on our post, we have the link as well to learn a bit more about the Institute and what we actually do. And it is a space for anyone that wants to learn about good fashion, that wants to be good consumers, that wants to be good producers, and really want to make sure that whatever they do, it is representative to the kingdom they're actually representing. And that's the kingdom of God. And that's where we're all about. And we want to create this space and this opportunity for those who are interested and who want to be good conduits towards it. So thank you so much for joining us. We will be doing this next week, God willingly, as well. And as you can see, we can speak about it a long time.
We
haven't even discussed, you know.
And Susanna, Susanna, I know that we are over time, but yes, I need to get back to this something and then I will conclude. Because Susanna would mention the ingredients in the candle, right? And right now, even the industry, without placing importance on God, we are speaking about this, right? And for me, I'm an animal lover. But right now, also in the industry, with all these things, there is a spiritual undertone. For example, you're burning fat of the animals, that number one, which is spiritual. That's what witches do. Number two, guys, with accessories, right? When we wear a lot of accessories, and guys, historically accessories, especially bangles and all the maybe drum beat. Well, this is not an accessory. This is already a musical instrument, right? But basically, when you do it, you invoke spiritual reality and you make it conducive to what you do. And if you are not worshiping Lord Jesus Christ, who is Elyon Hebrew, the most high God. So there are other gods, small g, but he's the most high. He's the highest authority. He's the supreme court, right? So to speak. So basically, when you're doing this, you are mingling yourself with the spiritual world, which we do not know quite well. And well, we know that it's hostile towards us. Only God is for us. Other guys, they are all against us. This is number two. And guys, I always say this, and perhaps some of you heard me saying this about inspiration, right? Whatever language you lay inspiration to, inspiration, just let us focus on English first. Inspiration, in spirit. Inspiration, you are in spirit. So what kind of spirit? And we all need inspiration. I'm no artist, but I know how important inspiration for my work is. So guys, all these kinds of things which are related to the spiritual reality, and we need to ask questions. And perhaps my last sentence, and I promise we're going to be gone. Basically, you perhaps might ask me, okay, about composition of the garments. Yes, it's valid. About composition of the candles and essential oils. That's great. It makes sense. Spiritual reality, I presented something in bits and pieces on that part. But also, guys, how spiritual reality biblically, we're standing on it biblically, right? How it is important, because guys, in the beginning of the broadcast, I mentioned psychologically recognize disorders, kleptomania, shopaholicism. And guys, when you speak with these people, basically they would confess this, like when kleptomaniac would say, I just cannot leave the store without stealing something. I have this compulsion. Or people who cannot stop themselves from buying, shopaholics. I cannot just stop myself from buying, right? And as if I feel compulsion. Perhaps, guys, you may relate in some ways, right? I certainly can and could, And basically, my question is, what kind of compulsion? What are you talking about? It's a sunny day. You are in a shopping mall. Who put a compulsion on you? But guys, we know when you are a shopaholic or you are a kleptomaniac, you know what you talk about. And you are like this, not because sometimes you chose it. There was an open door. You might perhaps you did not know about this, but it was an open door. But guys, there is a spiritual thing to the fashion industry, and that's why the problems that we are dealing with, number one, they're over the top, and number two, it's a mix. It's a mix of something which we can deal with, the education about consumption, ethics of consumption, but there are certain things which we cannot deal without God because they are spiritually rooted. So that's why we need to ask questions. Yeah, I'm done.
A long song, but it's the truth. We need to ask questions.
Yeah.
We just need to make sure that whatever we present it to, there's a word that says greenwashing. A lot of greenwashing is happening, and you won't know unless you ask questions, unless you look into it, whether or not it's what they're saying is the truth or not the truth. And we're just invoking people to ask questions. That's how we make changes. That's how changes come about. That's how we become clear, and that's how we can actually question, not just question ourselves, but question the brands, and also invoke change. And that's really what we're introducing with Good Fashion Institute. So thank you all for joining this will be made available for anyone who joined a little bit later or haven't been able to join. If you registered for the Good Fashion Institute, you will find more details about it, and you will join the program. Then you will see all the videos that's been made available through this. So we thank you so much for joining us. We plan to do this next week as well, and we will go into more deeper, because as you can see, there's a lot to talk about. And if you have any more questions or anything, please comment on our post or DM us for further details. Thank you so much, and have a lovely rest of the day where you are. Thank you so much, Anna, for joining. Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you. Bye bye, guys. Bye bye.